With that, we are going to start the fifth podcast episode of the Forward Pass Pod. We've got myself. I'm in Indiana, PA, wearing my Pitt. My sister committed to Pitt today, so
Shout out.
shout
Congrats.
out my sister Claire.
Big
Uh,
ups
we
to the
got
brand.
we got Duska in the Eagles after a huge win. Eagles cap. Arch not able to display his NFL team's merch, but he's got
The game
Masters.
got canceled. We didn't play.
Yeah. He's got his Masters merch on. And we've got Perry, also an excited Steeler fan. Big win. Coffee and chill hat. He's an Austin guy now. Don't forget your roots though, Sam.
I won't.
And and with that, we're gonna start with the pod. Oklahoma, Michigan. Kind of a snooze fest. Biggest game on the slate when you look at it. But Brent Venables gets an absolutely marquee win. They shut out Michigan in the first half. And then they held them off down the stretch by making timely plays by Arch's boy, John Mateer. Pate has an early Heisman bid for John Mateer. Some said, that could be a little early. Could be a little too getting ahead of ourselves. But I thought he looked really good. He had 270 yards through the air, threw a touchdown, threw a pick, and then he had 74 yards on the ground with 2 touchdowns. He's kind of what I expected Sam Levitt to be at ASU, but he did look like a better version of what. Obviously, Levitt had a bad game, but Mateer was super dynamic in this game. Obviously, outduels Bryce Underwood, freshman making his first start in a really big environment. I thought that's kind of expected. Michigan was able to run the ball effectively to a point. They had an explosive run of 75 yards, which kind of skewed their stats. Other than that, I thought Oklahoma did a really good job. Oklahoma's defense was physical as all get out. From Michigan, you're going to get a physical football team. They're going to tackle. They're going to run the ball. And I thought Oklahoma matched their physicality, and then the playmaking of John Mateer was kind of the difference. I thought Jared Koenig, the linebacker from Oklahoma who just converted to tight end. He was kind of huge in this game through the middle of Oklahoma. And then Deion Burks at receiver. Those 2 weapons were probably better than any weapon that Michigan has on the team. I thought McCulley made 1 good catch, but was largely a non-factor. Obviously, Haynes at running back is a dude. But you expect that kind of from Michigan. You know, good front 7 for Michigan. I think one thing you can take away is Michigan's going to be a tough out in the Big Ten, but it's probably not their year. As Pay talks about, the offense is just kind of behind. But they ran into a nasty Venables defense. I would not expect Bryce Underwood to have another 30% completion percentage game this year. I just wouldn't expect that. But
Maybe the rest of his football career.
yeah, he might never do that again. So Venables, big win for Oklahoma. Great environment. They have a gauntlet. Michigan, less of a gauntlet, but still has to play 2 of the out west teams, Ohio State. What did you guys think about this game? Because my reaction is basically, hey, Michigan, you weren't great on offense. We kind of expected that. You were able to run the ball. And then Oklahoma, I think this was not a game about Michigan. It was more a game about, hey, Oklahoma's for real. Their defense looks really good. And Mateer, he might be one of the best quarterbacks in college football. What say you guys?
Yeah, I think you covered a good amount of it. Just to touch on a few more things, I love Mateer because there was a lot of talk about the Oklahoma run game, their ability to run the ball effectively enough to open up some things on offense, and I love them using Mateer as just a weapon with his legs in short yardage situations, red zone situations. That's a huge threat that adds to the rushing attack that will support them in their ability to run the ball because of the questions that surrounded that. So he had a rushing touchdown on a QB counter. I know he had a few short yardage conversions. So I think that's an awesome weapon for Arbuckle and Oklahoma to use in the run game just to supplement it a little more. Also, Oklahoma played a true freshman at tackle, Michael Fasusi. I thought he was pretty poised and played pretty well for his first college game against a huge program and pretty impressive for someone's first game to be able to stand up against a pretty stout Michigan defense. And it's just a pretty awesome win for Oklahoma. A lot of credit to Brent Venables, like you said. they did a good job exposing the Michigan pass game by stopping the run enough that Michigan couldn't really rely on that as much as they would traditionally. And I just didn't think Bryce Underwood had enough or has had enough drop back pass reps in general to kind of make up for some of the limitations that they were going to have on the ground because Oklahoma did such a good job stopping them. So pretty impressed with that Oklahoma team. As from a Michigan perspective, I think the early signs of a good team are there. They have a strong defense. They have a good run game. That's kind of two pillars of a pretty awesome team with a strong identity. Just Bryce Underwood needs, like I said, Bryce Underwood needs more drop back pass reps, and they'll be fine. There's probably some questions surrounding the receiving core too. Charlie could probably speak a little bit more on that, but I think this Michigan team will be fine. I had them in my playoffs. I think they can afford this loss as long as they continue to improve. And I think Bryce Underwood will just keep getting better as the year goes on. So I don't think Michigan has too much to like. There's no super long-term ramifications of this, and just overall, like you said, it's more of a Oklahoma thing than it was Michigan uh, not picking up the win there. So
Yeah, I'll kind of offer a little bit of a different perspective on this game just because I feel like you're going to hear the same thing from everyone all week, just about how amazing Oklahoma was and how amazing Mateer was and how pedestrian Underwood looked. I think, first off, from a Michigan perspective, I think that this game is going to pay massive dividends for Bryce Underwood going forward, playing in this hostile environment, number one. Number two, the fact that this is probably going to be the second best defense he plays all year, that in Ohio State. So I think from now on, like just kind of trial by fire in his way, and that he is going to be a lot more comfortable against these lesser Big Ten teams. Um, Shout out to Oklahoma for kind of doing what I expected them to do by shutting down the run game. I mean, they kept Haynes in check for the most part outside of that 75-yard run. So if you look at it, it's 18 for 50, which is a really good job by Venables in the defense. I was impressed with Mateer and how they used him in the run game, like you said, Tuska. But another thing about Oklahoma was they never were really able to put Michigan away. Like this, the outcome of this game was never in doubt, and yet Michigan always had a chance. Granted, there was a fumbled punt, a bad interception, and then if you look at it too, in that third quarter when Mateer threw what should have been a pretty bad pick that was dropped by the Michigan corner, and then they scored a touchdown on the next play. So I think if you're Michigan and if you have Michigan in the playoff, I would not feel that horrible about it because they did not play great on offense. Yet they were in it the entire time. If you're Oklahoma, I would you could feel really good about this win and beating a Michigan team, kind of dominating them, even though you weren't at your highest level. But I'm interested to see how Mateer is going to go forward because I still think there's going to be a large variance in play from him because you're going to see a lot of highs and a lot of lows. And I think that his lows were not capitalized on by Michigan enough in this game for it to make a difference. But I would keep an eye on that going forward.
Great point on the pick. That was a turning point. Pick, drop pick, and then explosive down to the low red. Like that was pretty much the game. So great point there.
Yeah, I'm gonna kind of just echo the same thing. I think Oklahoma did a good job using Mateer as kind of the unaccounted guy in the scrambling and the rushing game. Because Oklahoma's running backs, I know people were really high on them to start the season when they got Ott in from Cal and a few others. No, like Ott, I don't know if he's on like a snap count limit because of injury so far, but he's only had 6 carries so far this year, and the other ones really aren't showing huge dividends. I think Mateer did a good job of taking the pressure off them. I think it's clear from Michigan that if this wasn't a wake-up call that your weapons are not good enough to compete at the top level of college football, I don't know what is. The Samaj Morgan experience is done. 3 years of him being like trying to be like a gadget tool wide receiver one guy, it's just not it. You can't he's the gadget guy. He can't be your guy that's going to lead you to anything worth assault with Bryce Underwood as your quarterback. So I think this is going to be a big wake-up call for them in the offseason to go after the top receivers in the portal. And now that they have a commodity like Bryce Underwood, I think you're going to start to see some interest in people wanting to go there. I thought it was a pretty entertaining game from like a defensive standpoint. I don't feel bad about both teams. I also don't feel like just because Oklahoma won, they're gonna this is gonna kickstart their championship season. I don't think just because Michigan lost, their season's there's gonna be so much to fix. I just think it was a good game by both sides, and both teams that really just didn't capitalize on some things like they should have that would have definitely changed the result of this game. And I'm I'm excited to see what both teams do going forward.
Yeah. Uh, the thing about I have a few more things before we move on, but like the thing about Mateer is obviously in a big game like this, he ran the ball 19 times, right? That's okay. But they're gonna play a lot more big games in the SEC, and you watch for the running back production. That's gonna have to come up if they're gonna be a sustainable like champ, playoff caliber team. The one thing about the playoff caliber-ness of this team is when Oklahoma's had good quarterback play, they've been really good. There was I saw during the game they posted like how many starters they have in the NFL. I think it's like 5. It's like it's like Hurts, Rattler, Mayfield, Murray, um, whatever. There's
Williams, if you count Lincoln Riley.
yes, Caleb
Dude,
Williams.
he just threw a fucking laser.
Sweet. I'm glad.
For football.
Yeah, corporate football. Anyway, but yeah, so you had 5 guys that have played in the NFL. So whenever Oklahoma's good, it's usually due to they have elite quarterback play. So if you're looking at this, Lincoln Riley's teams, they never had a defense good enough to contend seriously for a national championship. Besides maybe that Georgia year where they lose to Georgia in the Rose Bowl, but they do have. They might. I'm not ready to say they do. They might have that elite quarterback play. Plus, they might have a really good defense. But again, it's so early in the season that you're just like, hey, good win for Oklahoma. Let's see what they do. Michigan, you can deal with this loss. Like, it's okay. Go into Big Ten play and do what you do. Michigan rounds out the month with Central Michigan and then at Nebraska at the end of the month, which that'll be a test. But if Michigan's who they think they are, they should win that football game. That'd be a solid win for them. And then Oklahoma rounds out the month. They go to Temple, Casey Keeler smash spot potentially.
Could be a chaotic atmosphere at Lincoln Financial Field.
Could be chaotic at the Link.
Upset watch.
And then
I wonder who super dog that's going to be this week.
Yeah.
Oh, I might have to change mine. I didn't even think that you were going to take them.
And then home against Auburn. That'll be another good test. The Jackson Arnold return back to
the running back off.
Yeah, back to that. But now we're gonna move on to a crazy game, a USF Florida game where we saw Florida lose. And guys, I didn't tell you this going into the pod, but there is someone special that I wanted to have on just because of his closeness to the program. So as we wait for him to enter, I just want to know, Arch, Duska, what does this mean for Florida's football program?
It doesn't mean anything good. I don't want to overreact to because I think USF's a good team. They're a playoff team, but it's certainly it's certainly not good that they lost this and then they go on the road to LSU next week.
Yeah, it's really bad.
Kane Martinez, welcome to the pod. Welcome to the pod.
That is really bad.
First guess.
One last thing before we get Nez's insight. I don't think it's a good thing when your AD for Florida is having to post the "We ride with our coach" after game 2. A few players have already announced they're getting surgeries on their feet and other things. It's quit season and opt-out time for the Gators already. So
yeah,
this season might be a horrendous train wreck finish.
Real quick before Nez goes, you would think that when someone spat on someone on national TV 2 days before, you wouldn't do it 2 days after. Florida clearly didn't learn their lesson, but that's all.
Nez, I'll tee you up as our local Gator fan. Gator fan for your whole life. You've got family that's been to Gainesville. You were in the swamp a week ago. What do we think about the Gators? And if you speak for Gator Nation, what's the temperature?
It's real bad right now. Arch did or Sperry mentioned about spitting on another player. It's an all-time low when a Florida Gator, gets to the scumbag level of a Georgia Bulldog and pulling their move. So that
the only issue is the Florida Gators, they don't have the Jimmies and Joes to overcome losing a guy like that mid-game or at the beginning of the game.
We'll see. I'll get to that there, but he shouldn't be in the game. We have two starting defensive linemen for the Florida Gators that just haven't put the pads on yet. That's not great. One, this arguably the best defensive player for the Florida Gators, Caleb Banks, is hanging out in a walking boot since fall camp. He's supposed to be back for LSU, so that would be huge if he can be. Number 88, he's like a preseason first team All SEC player. You know, so I mean, hopefully he's back when the boys go into Baton Rouge. But
That's
first
on that's
initial
six. That's
thoughts.
like 6 days.
Yeah, well, he was out of the
Boot's a
boot on the
boot's a
sideline.
big game. Is
I don't know if that's kind of
Yeah.
wishful thinking.
They're saying he's going to be good. They
All
were
right.
kind of the word is on the street is that they were like just hold him on ice
they were gonna
for the
save
two.
him for the
Uh,
LSU game because the USF game is gonna be so easy.
Yeah,
Well,
how
if
about
you
that?
needed him to beat USF, you weren't in a good position to win anyway.
I
So
agree. Completely agree with that. But I'll get into my breakdown here. We'll start off with a couple positives. This will be really, really quick. First off, Jaden Ball. That kid's a player. Running back, number 13. Very rarely through 2 games have I seen the first guy in tackle him. He's a damn good player.
okay.
And then a couple of the wide receivers have been playing
Eugene.
well. Eugene Wilson the third, they call him Trey. Also wears number 3, pretty creative cat. Um, he's a good player. Runs routes, makes good catches. He's a not the biggest guy, gadget, catching jet sweeps. Another guy, Vernell Brown the third. He's a true freshman. He's the cat who had that one-hander against that LIU. Had a 50-yard punt return.
I don't think anyone saw.
He's been showing some stuff. So that's about it. On the defensive side,
Nez, I have a positive for you.
what's up?
On the pick that Lagway threw in the third quarter to James Chenault of USF, it was very impressive that he could throw it that far across his body on the run.
Okay, I'll take that. We'll get to DJ Lagway in a little bit. Last positive, of course, we got on the defensive side, not many. Tyreek Sapp, guy shows up every time in the run, getting the big sack when it happens. That's about it. We'll get to the
where do you go to
negatives.
high school at?
I don't know. He's a friend of the program, but
Yeah. Yeah.
he's a
Oh, wait.
Fort Lauderdale guy.
Okay, wait. We really like Nez. Like, what I really want to know, like, if we get to nuts and bolts, like, do you want to fire Billy Napier?
I think I've seen enough of Billy Napier. And we'll start to the negatives. I've personally seen enough with Billy Napier. I don't think he gets the guys ready enough to play. Look at last year. They kind of started out lousy. And then, you got everyone back and ready to go at the end. But like, you'd already lost 6 games, so it's like, what's the point? If you look at that game, there's no signs of FU football coming out of the Florida Gators. Nobody's finishing blocks, I mean, except for number 90, Hawking Alugi on the offensive lineman there, but that's not what you want to see
No,
in that sense.
it's too much fuck you
Um,
football.
he's a great recruiter, but like that doesn't do you any good. What's it called? DJ Lagway, also the play caller, was not a fan of the play calling on Saturday. Too many, for example, the first drive, my guy Jaden Ball that I mentioned earlier, 5 carries, 51 yards, gets down the field. I think his shortest rush was 8 yards. Bunch of gap scheme. We're running counter to the boundary for 15 yards. We're running, power, that kind of stuff. Zone to the right. He can't be stopped. We get to the red zone. Decide to stop running the ball that we were doing to get down there, and throw some bad passes. But yeah, going back to Billy Napier, not a fan. The coaching in general, it wasn't just Billy Napier. Substitutions, the Florida Gators defense was caught with their pants down when the ball was snapped multiple times, where people are looking at the sideline, looking at each other, asking for the play. Actually, on the one touchdown the Bulls scored, um, and the entire defense is looking at the sideline. Can't have that. If you look at their punt, obviously long snapper gets a nice safety. That's not on the coaching. That's on him. He's useless. On the punt team, they have a pin punt opportunity. Punter puts it inside of the 10-yard line, and we have no one there to down it. The returner gets out of the way, doesn't want to catch it. There's one guy inside the 5 yard line. He's 10 yards away from the ball. No one else there to down the ball inside the 10 yard line. So then they get it at the 20 as opposed to inside the 5.
Hidden
It's
yardage.
another coaching issue there. Hidden yardage, over 100 yards in penalties, ridiculous. Let's see. We'll go back to the play calling. Third and long, third downs in general, four of 12 on the day.
Can't have that.
Multiple.
Lost
Padlock
that.
stat.
What'd you say?
Padlock
Padlock
stat.
stat.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we need that. 4 and 12 is bad. There was multiple third downs, 3rd and 6 plus, where we had a little bit of Drew Fulmer action where we're running counter. Not a fan of that. Was never a fan of that.
Hopefully he doesn't listen to the pod.
At
I
this
think
point,
we're safe. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I mean, that was bad. Going to DJ Lagway, I have a bit of an insider report on the team. Not friend of the program, Tyreek Sapp.
You heard it here first from the Forward Pass here.
Yeah.
The scoop
All
we're
right,
about to get.
break the news.
Yeah, this is not any groundbreaking stuff, but DJ Lagway, he's looking a little like off. He's hitting quick slants late, that kind of stuff. He did not participate in any practice until the week of LIU. He didn't participate in a single fall camp scrimmage because of a shoulder injury, which is where I go into where Duska brought up the interception, how it was nice of him, letting it eat down the field there. That play, going back to the play calling, we're rolling out to the right, throwing a post back to the left. Not a fan. I mean, I know DJ Lagway's got a great arm, but if you watch him last year, Chuck Mill, you were watching the game with me in his debut against Samford, where he was ripping the ball all over the field, and we were looking at each other like, "Oh my gosh, we found someone." I think the play where he threw the interception was the first time I've seen him launch it down the field yet this season. So shoulder could be bothering him still. Not making excuses.
Also,
However,
not a lot of live reps.
yeah, not a lot of live
Not a
reps.
lot of live reps.
Going into the next negative, this kind of correlates together. I had DJ Lagway he's having some pretty happy feet in the pocket, which I'm not loving. Going to the O line, supposed to be a great O line. Jake Slaughter, first team All American last year, projected All American again this year, first team All SEC, and along with I believe left tackle, Austin Brewer or something like that, supposed to be All SEC. The guy doesn't have the most amount of time in the pocket, and this is even last week against LIU. He had happy feet. That's against an LIU pass rush and Conference USA pass rush.
AAC, but yeah, same shit.
There we go. So that's no LSU, Texas, Georgia pass rush.
Yeah.
So not loving that out of the O line, and that a lot of it is with 4-man pressure, not even sending blitzes.
Yeah.
So was not very excited about that. Going to my next negative. Tackling
Oh, your
was
specialty.
bad. Looked
Fuck
like
yeah.
they had me out there, which for the viewers that don't know, I probably have more missed tackles than career tackles.
He's wrong.
Yeah, maybe not. But the tackling was real bad. Many times.
Was it
We
the
had-
linebacker play or just safeties?
Oh no, it was everyone. I mean, there was multiple guys having hands on the quarterback, and he scampers for a first down instead of getting a sack. There was linebackers shooting gaps, missing TFLs. Guys go for first downs. I mean, multiple TFL and sack opportunities that hit for a first down. Very
Okay,
bad.
Wait. Well, I'm gonna tee you up with. I got a take here that I want to hear the fellas' opinions about, and then I want to tee you up with the question. My take is Florida plays a fucking gauntlet of a schedule. I think if you just can't pick out 6 wins. Like, I just don't know how, unless they are the truth, unless they turn this thing around and they roll the SEC, which I just don't see happening. If they go 6 wins, I think Napier's probably fired, and I think next December, Alex Golish will return, except he'll be the head coach of the Florida Gators. What say you about that? That is the USF head coach, Nez. Would that be somebody you'd be interested in having in the program?
I I was thinking about this. There's a few guys I've had my eye on.
Okay.
He is potentially one. This isn't his first year having success. He has played at the Alabama Crimson Tide very tough multiple times.
Yep.
He builds great programs. I loved what I saw last Saturday out of them. So he's potential one.
Okay. Who else we got?
I think we give John Gruden a shot.
Nah.
I think they're going to have a
Barstool
splash
guy.
hire.
I think we give John Gruden a shot. Kenny Dillingham's a potential until I saw him fold against Mississippi State. I'm not huge on him. I'm not a big Pac-12 guy myself. I know he's not in the Pac-12 anymore, but that's still that Pac-12 stuff. You see
Yeah.
what's happening over there in Tuscaloosa with the Pac-12 guy. So other than that, I don't really know. All I know is I think I've seen enough of Billy, but the tackling was bad. We'll go into the next one. Catching
Oh,
needs to get
catching?
better. There was multiple times,
He's got a
one
drop problem.
on that first drive where I mentioned they were running the ball great, got to the red zone, decided not to keep doing that. There was a ball where DJ Lagway threw a great ball to the tight end Tony Livingston, and it went right through his hands to where I think he might have been in the end zone or inside the 5 yard line for a first down.
This seems like
Dropped it.
this seems like a lot of issues.
Oh, it's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
So many negatives.
Yeah, this is a lot of. Arch, you
Did you
got
watch
something?
the game?
Yeah, I did. It's just now that you say all this stuff, it just makes me think.
Even the guy I was highlighting, Vernell Brown III, he had a huge drop late in the game on like
Vernell.
I mean, right through his hands on a wheel route. Like we just can't be having that. I know he's a true freshman. It's his second game, but just a lot of bad stuff out of the orange and blue on Saturday. It's not
Caleb,
good.
Caleb Archer. The Florida Gators haven't been good since. Well, they had a brief stint with the Kyle Trask and the
2020.
UNLV Dan
And
Mullen.
they made it to the SEC championship that year.
Yeah, exactly.
Probably would
A
have made
little-
the playoff if Marco Wilson didn't toss a shoe.
The
True.
entire the program went downhill.
Wait,
after
I
that scumbag Marco Wilson tossed the shoe 100%.
But
They
they
were
haven't
they
been-
were in the
They
playoffs
still
if
would
they
have
win.
missed the playoff. I never understand why people say
perennial, but also perennial contender. They have not been that since Urban Meyer. As a Georgia
Except for-
fan,
yeah.
Arch, seeing Georgia stock, if we're Mark Rick, Urban Meyer era, seeing the rivers flow in reverse,
Mhm.
how does it feel as a Georgia fan?
I mean, it feels good. Kind of sucks because, like, I don't know, SEC fans always complain about Georgia's schedule being bad like they used to for the SEC East. Well, the problem is the SEC East sucked, and the same fans that were saying Georgia's schedule were bad were the same people that their team sucked, so Georgia's schedule wasn't better. I hope Florida would get their act together. I mean, it makes us look bad, but I mean, yeah, I mean Napier was thrown in the towel. Like he's just not. They called him Sunbelt Billy for a reason. Just because he won the Sunbelt at Louisiana doesn't mean you can come tout with the big dogs of the SEC. And it's clear. Him not calling the timeout with like a minute left when he had two of them and just like letting 40 seconds run off, like just like inevitable. Like if you called it then, you would have gotten the chance to maybe get on offense and get a field goal and you would have won. Instead, you just like surrender and just like watch you just like the inevitable happen. I don't know. I don't like it, and I hope that although I wouldn't mind watching Florida suffer for the rest of my life. It's pretty fun.
Question for Nez. Two-party question. Part one, do you think Lagway will transfer in the inevitable firing of Napier?
Oh shit.
Part two, do you think part of the reason of them keeping him last offseason was to keep Lagway?
I think your second part of the question, I think yes. I think they did keep him to keep Lagway. And being that Lagway had, I think this freshman class had either 2 5-star and a 4-star receiver coming in for some help. So, keeping him around would keep elite players coming into the program for Lagway to throw to. I think, what was the first part? Like if they
fire him,
Billy,
you think he's going to transfer?
I honestly have no idea. He seems to love Florida. His girlfriend is a pitcher on the softball team, so he might not want to leave that. I don't know,
Good
but
intel there.
that is, yeah. So I think he'll stay. He's got good
That
weapons
might
around
be
him.
that might be more important than people think.
Yeah,
They'll
absolutely.
probably
You
do a
know,
dual transfer to the highest bidder.
yeah, and he's doing this thing where he's giving $100,000 of his own NIL money to the women's sports at University of Florida to help him out. Be his girlfriend being on the softball team. I think he'll stay because of the caliber of players that Billy has been able to recruit. I just think they need a new person pointing the spear.
Well, with that, you've got a real live Gator coming on to the pod. With that, that's our first ever guest, fellas. Clap it up. Thank you, Cade Martinez. We're gonna continue on without you, but man, I loved having you on. It's always good talking to you. Always good seeing you, bro.
It was a pleasure. Very
The
honored
next
to be the
good
first
or
guest.
bad, yeah,
What'd you say, Arch?
the next good or bad event from Florida. Probably Napier's firing next week after they get beat by 100. We'll be on.
Not
I
the
will
last
leave it.
time you'll be on, Tino.
I will leave it. It's honored to be the first guest on the Forward Pass. Big fan of the program, and I will leave it with the Gators will rebound and win in Baton Rouge this
Oh, boy.
Saturday, and then go to Miami, obviously winning that, and then I will have boots on ground in Texas. So I'll give you guys another update after I have boots on ground in Texas for the Arch Manning funeral.
Maybe you and Perry should go out for a drink.
No, it's at UF.
Yeah.
That was
It's in
Peyton's point while Florida was going to win for some
It's in
reason.
the swamp. All right, boys. Appreciate you guys having me.
See you,
Big
Nez.
fan of the
Yeah,
program.
Nez.
See you, boys.
So there you have it. Cade Martinez. I did not tell anybody that this is gonna happen.
Yeah, I was perplexed.
I think we need no further analysis.
No further
Yeah, that's
ado.
good. We got
a lot of
nice
Florida.
and deep.
We got
The
it.
anatomy
Yeah.
of the Florida program.
Hey, we're gonna go on to the Cyhawk though right now. And listen, here's in my notes I had a little write up about this game, so I guess I'll say something real quick. Iowa football, we cannot be serious. We simply cannot be serious. Last week on the podcast, I came here saying Mark Grebanowski, a two-time FCS champ, a baller of a football player, had 43 passing yards against the Albany Great Danes, and I said, that needs to change.
He doubled it.
He doubles it, but is below 100 yards yet again. 83 passing yards. Mark Grebanowski. If you want to be a serious football team and you want to contend for anything besides the Tax Slayer Bowl, you need to be able to throw the forward pass with efficiency. And it's a dereliction of duty. It's simply a dereliction of duty because this Iowa football team could be so good. They get in these knockout, drag out, 7-round heavyweight boxing fights to no avail. My players of the game. Rise Dakin, Iowa punter, 5 punts, 235 yards, 47 average, a 65 long, and 1 punt inside the 20. Now, my second player of the game, Tyler Perkins, Iowa State punter. 4 punts, 185 yards, 46 average, 65 long, 2 punts inside the 20. We can't be serious, Iowa.
Was there a single person in the world that expected Iowa to be able to march down the field in that 2-minute situation at the end of the game?
No.
Did they practice?
Actually, the real question should be: does Iowa even practice 2-minute?
Hell no.
No.
Hell no.
Their logic is absolutely if we're in the 2-minute, we deserve to lose. So.
Yeah. It's like we
There'll
didn't
be a
do our
fly
job.
on the wall in their 2-minute drill.
Oh my god! I mean, I can't imagine their team meeting. Imagine you play middle linebacker for Iowa, and you're just, are we serious, guys? We held Iowa State. They just scored a 55 and 38. We boxed their offense. We boxed a really good quarterback with a really good run game. 83 yards.
Yeah. Iowa really hurt to watch, like more than usual on offense, because you saw, like they have they have a much higher ceiling, I think, on offense than they've ever had with their quarterback, and yet again he makes the FCS look horrendous. I mean, it was like it hurt my eyes to watch him throw the football, so it definitely hurt his arm when he did it. So and it was always going to be this kind of game. I remember we talked about it on the pod last week. I was like, whatever happens, this game is gonna suck, and it's gonna come down to like a field goal, and it's just gonna be like the team that shouldn't win is gonna win. This case, I do think Iowa State should have won them, and they were the favorite. They were probably the better team, but although like it was like bad versus bad at certain points, just not great. That's all I
Right.
gotta say. Iowa's got to be better. They're not in the Big Ten West anymore. They don't have divisions, so you better step your game up, Kirk Ferentz.
With that, anybody have anything else to say about Iowa?
Yeah, I was gonna say just because you're wearing like the Steelers uniforms doesn't mean you have to be the same team over and over again like the Steelers are. Um, but yeah, I mean same old Iowa. And no, not like don't want to like shit on Iowa State. Like congrats on the win, but like not world beaters either. So bad weekend for the Big 12, which we'll get into some more.
Does anybody have conviction about the ASU Mississippi State game that they would like to preach?
Yeah, I'll victory lap that.
I would love
Had
to
them
use-
outright. Had them outright. Kind of expected them to start off hot, feed off the crowd, like a Super Bowl type game, which we expected. Good win. I mean, kind of got shaky there at the end. A little bit of a head scratching move, in my opinion, for Arizona State to not go for it at the end and just kind of put them away. Obviously, the guy's helmet falling off was a bit unlucky. In this game, really, in the grand scheme of it, doesn't matter a whole lot for Arizona State because their likely path to the playoff either way was going to be an at-large bid. So they're like nothing changes in Monday's team meeting. I mean, obviously changed some stuff up, but eyes forward for them. Shout out to Mississippi State. Shapen looked awesome. Good win for them. Fans stormed the field. So congrats, Mississippi State. They could be a frisky SEC team, maybe. There's always that one team every year that has really low expectations that rises. So we'll see. But congrats to Mississippi State. Pretty entertaining game as well.
Yeah, I was going to say Mississippi State's got a lot of athletes. I like Jeff Levy. He was awesome for Oklahoma 2 years ago with Dylan Gabriel. Definitely deserves this job. Atmosphere was awesome. Like you can see when Mississippi State's good, what Starkville can do for your program. So that was cool to see. Just an awesome out of conference game too, where you don't really see that many, especially between like an Arizona State team that kind of has some to lose from playing games like this, especially like going to Starkville at night. But awesome game all around. Don't really have any true feelings. I think it was a good night for Mississippi State, tough night for Arizona State.
Just quick. Obviously, the Arizona State passing game looked very disjointed. They were really bad on third and pass situations. They were 5 for 17 overall on third and fourth down. That's never going to get the job done, especially against a team that they can compete against you. They're bottom of the barrel of the SEC, but I mean they're gonna play you close no matter what. So you're gonna have to convert more in those spots. But I was very encouraged by the ASU ground game. They had 51 carries for 251 yards, and that's just a huge arrow in the right direction that shows that I think they'll be able to run the ball effectively against most Big 12 teams. And once they get in the conference play, that's going to be a big weapon for them. And they'll be able to figure out the pass game. I have faith in Kenny Dillingham. And like Sam was saying, this doesn't really have super long-term ramifications because their eyes are on the Big 12 prize, and that'll be the thing that ends up getting them in the playoffs, not they're probably not an at-large candidate.
We probably won't get another game as bad as Sam Levitt played today on Saturday. He was 10 for 22, 82 yards, a tud and 2 picks. Like Duska said, they had 2 100-yard rushers in Raleek Brown and Kanye Udo. And sorry, fellas. And while Arizona State waged war on the ground, Mississippi State just threw bombs, just threw missiles through the air. They had 2 100-yard receivers. This end of the game, what it made me think about was 2022 Tennessee, Alabama. Jalen Hyatt walks it off for Tennessee, Hendon Hooker and Jalen Hyatt. They run like a switch vert, and Alabama like doesn't switch it in time. They're DBs, and those are air raid principles in the offense. So that's I'm blanking on his name. Tennessee coach.
Josh.
Yeah, Josh Heupel. He's got a lot of air raid principle. Well, so does Jeff Lebby. Jeff Lebby was taught football by Art Briles, who was the coach of Baylor when they kind of had their Bryce Petty years, and they were winning football games. and I thought like the play call was brilliant. He goes 3-by-1, they motion in, they run a switch vert. I thought it was. I've never seen a safety blitz from the nickel blitz from the depth that the Arizona State safety blitz from. He blitzed from 6 yards off the line of scrimmage. He blitzed from so far off the line of scrimmage that the motion man, when he goes to run his shallow route, he runs in to the shallow route and trips and falls down because he's blitzing from such depth. He was never going to get there. He ends up not getting there and he trips and falls. And then the DBs like just play a weird in and out coverage instead of literally just playing man. And they looked like they were kind of they were like giving each other a signal like literally right before the ball was snapped. They looked unprepared. And not Art Browse, Jeff Levy got him. And I thought that was just like brilliant football coaching, like 101. Like sometimes that's what happens. Like in those big moments, like the right play call, the right look, magic. So it reminded me a lot of and then the Tennessee game where they take it and put it in the river, the field goal post. Starkville does the same thing. So kind of a
Well, also, what about
cool
the
moment.
remember when Arizona State did that to Oregon in 19? Daniels Tayuk.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yes.
They're winning the whole game. They blew
Yep.
it, and then Fowler had like an aneurysm in the booth.
Yep. Yeah. So I just thought Mississippi State was really impressive. I wonder how frisky they could be. It's a little bit like they're in the SEC. If you put Mississippi State in a different conference, like the Big 12, I think they'd fare really well. I just think they just kind of have a gauntlet. They play Tennessee at the end of the month after Alcorn and NIU. So, we'll see if they can pick that one up. Arizona State plays Texas State, and then they go to Baylor and then home against TCU. Right now, Arizona State is sixth in the Big 12 odds. TCU and Baylor are both ahead of them. So if they want to make up ground, this is the perfect month to do so. So they've still got all of September to put themselves back where they want to be. The next thing we'll go to is I wanted to hit Louisville and the Dukes real quick. My thought was for Louisville, they do what they're supposed to do. They win by 14, which is pretty much the spread. Miller Moss was okay. But I was really frustrated with the two quarterback system that James Madison was running.
Filthy.
I was
Yeah.
really upset. And
Filthy.
I just as a football fan, like if the Dukes want to be a serious team, like it was unbelievable. And if you think Sluka's your best ball carrier, make him a running back. Like actually, like put him in the game if you think he's your most dynamic ball carrier, because it was maddening. He actually his yards per carry was worse than two of the running backs on the team. So it wasn't like it was all that successful. He had the most amount of carries, but Alonzo Barnett I think is actually really good. I think he slings the rock, and they gave him no chance. They gave him no chance. Sluka had 3 times more carries than anybody on the roster. And if you want to be a serious G5 contender, I would prescribe a philosophy shift towards Barnett. Because I think Sluka could be like a Taysom Hill guy for you, but he doesn't need to be taking Barnett out of the game. Like Barnett can't throw a 7-yard slam on first down and dime somebody up and then run off the field. Like there's just no way for him. He had 26 tuds and 4 picks last year, and he had 2,500 passing yards. Like he was efficient and good.
Yeah, I think the final score does not do this game its justice. This was JMU arguably like they squandered it. They had chances. That's why they were my super dog of the week. I thought they would have chances. They had them, missed them. Just costly turnovers. One being they fumbled in their own end zone, and Louisville recovers for probably the easiest touchdown you'll get in the book. It's the weirdest thing is JMU's defense and trenches like match up to an ACC school, but it was just that there was a clear like difference I think at quarterback that cost them. Just no like too fluid between changing and just two different styles. And it was getting to the point later in the game when Sluka would go in, Louisville knew it was a run. Like you're not hiding anything when you're doing that. I think so. I still think JMU will buzzsaw the rest of the Sun Belt because they just have the talent. But like if you want to get the G5 bid over like the USFs of the world or another G5 team that probably gets an upset, You should have won this game.
UNLV.
Yeah, like you should have won this game. It was 14-14 going into the fourth quarter. You had some momentum. Just costly penalties by them too. I mean, just with some of those, especially the delay of games. Not to get too technical, but they kept calling defensive delay of games on JMU for shifting their front without moving, which gave Louisville like 2 free first downs late in the game, which is just ridiculous because it's not what they changed the rule to help like to fix something. They're just overcorrecting it now. So yeah, JMU squandered this one. I don't feel as good about Louisville as I did going into the season with Miller Moss. He's looking shaky at best. But like I said, JMU's got a good team and they got good coaching, so they'll be all right. But this is a fun game, really gritty watch for sure.
I like this. I like this watch.
Yeah,
I mean, I think JMU looks like they're a P5 team or P4 team with the athletes they have. They tackle well. They've got good trenches. Um, I just think their philosophy shift away. And Louisville is my ACC championship prediction. I don't love that right now, but I'm still riding with them. But I did think they ran the ball effectively. Isaac Brown, 8.7 yards a carry. He's their starting back. So if you keep doing that, you buy Miller Moss time to get going. They're going to need a lot better from Miller Moss. Duska or Sam, do you have anything about this game?
Yeah, impressive from JMU, especially early on in the game. Louisville's offensive line was not good at the beginning. So good game. Yeah, Louisville needs to work some stuff out before they get into the teeth of ACC play if they want to be a real contender with the rise of Florida State and Miami right now.
And then we'll go rapid fire on some of these games. UK Ole Miss,
Epic cover.
epic cover.
just a fun game, just funny. Kentucky always has Ole Miss's number. Never good enough to win, always good enough to cover.
Yeah, Zach. As Arch would say, Zach Calzada did not move me. Did not move me one bit. I thought Seth
Cutter Boley,
McGowan.
though, that guy looked pretty good. The
He
guy
looked
they put
better.
in.
Seth
Like, it
McGowan
was like the bar was really low.
bar was in hell, no doubt. Uh, Karen Lacey, the back for Ole Miss, he ran all over Kentucky. 28 carries for 138 yards and a tud. Um, I do think if Ole Miss can run the ball this effectively, and obviously Lane Kiffin is really committed to running the football, they're going to buy Austin Simmons time because Austin Simmons did not look good. 3 picks, 50% completion percentage.
Yeah, I thought he got benched, but he actually got hurt, and they put in the Ferris State transfer. So that'd be funny to see if they actually roll with him.
Yeah, I just think
Yeah,
this team has a ceiling on it if Austin Simmons is going to be that inaccurate. Both picks were pretty nasty. And then one thing about Kentucky, just some fun little trivia. Jamori Macklin, Kentucky receiver, had a couple nice grabs.
Whoa.
Cousin
Jeremy?
cousin of Eagles
Oh!
legend Jeremy Macklin. Yes. Yeah, that was fun to see.
That's great.
Also,
That's good.
Trey Wallace looked pretty good, the Penn State transfer
Yeah.
at Ole Miss now.
Yeah.
We're gonna get into we did Baylor SMU a little bit pre-show. Um, Sawyer Robertson, Kevin Jenkins, they put on a show at quarterback. Defense, less impressive on both teams.
Defense was optional. Great, entertaining game. That was probably my favorite game to watch this weekend. Just back and forth, and especially it was like a little older kind of rivalry, like two like the small private schools in Texas is duking it out that are at the P5 level or P4 now, I guess.
Yeah.
Awesome to see.
Yeah, that was awesome to see. And then Illinois, Duke. This game was on the pick'em. I was an absolute sheep, and picked Darius Mensa to like sling the rock all over him. Illinois just little boyed them. Like at some point, they just pushed them all around the field. And Duska, I kind of want you to take a little victory lap here because you said in the pod Illinois might be built to handle them at the line of scrimmage.
Yeah. Well, honestly, Duke stood up a little better than I expected. They had a few. Vincent Anthony had a few sacks early. I
Yep.
was impressed by that. Also, I don't. The thing about Illinois is I don't. Seeing how they physically handled the Duke D line, I don't know if that level of physicality and ability to run the ball is going to scale up to the tougher Big Ten competition they play. And like if they make the playoff, the teams they'll see in that, I think it'll be tough. But as far as teams that like Duke that are probably above average ACC teams at best, I think they did a good job, obviously capitalizing. 5 turnovers is never
Yeah.
gonna get the job done for you. But I think Darius Mensah is good, or Darian Mensah is a good player, and was throwing around a decent amount. But I'll be interesting to see this. I'll be interested to see this Illinois, especially offensive line, play against some tougher Big Ten, better competition.
Yeah, I think Duke had some chances, especially early on, and they didn't take advantage, and Illinois just ran away. I'm interested to see how they're going to be able to scale up, like you said, some of these better teams. But I mean, I don't think Duke was good at all.
Yeah. I think Illinois like kind of copies like the Michigan blueprint, but like they do it worse.
Yeah, I don't think Illinois is like a world beater either. I
No,
think
I'm not
the
in on them.
score
I think,
didn't reflect the true outcome of that game.
and they're lucky that they don't play Michigan, Penn State, or Oregon, so they could
Illinois.
easily sneak into that Big Ten like fourth playoff slot if that's how it ends up going. But they could also easily get snuck by like Washington, USC, Indiana. There's a lot of teams they play there. I wouldn't be super confident going in that they'll.
Yeah, they got Indiana next week.
Yeah, I was about to say that's going to be a really awesome game. Two of the kind of sleepers of the Big Ten that just kind of they're just there. So I think that'll be interesting. Yeah, Illinois just kind of ran away with it at the end. I was in and out of this game. Saw Illinois was like, and then I saw Duke come back, and then you check again, and Illinois just like put
Ran away.
a quick 20 on them. That's all she wrote back in Durham. So
Super Dogs.
yeah,
My Missouri State. I think they're the Bears.
I believe
they're
so.
the Bears. I think they're the Bears.
Their
The
logo
Missouri-
has a bear in it.
Yes, which is
I
why.
think they're the Grizzlies.
It might be the Grizzlies. Look at what Mo State is. I don't want to get.
No,
them wrong.
isn't that Montana?
Remember,
State?
no, they're the Bears. They're the Bears. Yeah,
They're
it
the
is.
Bears. They're the Bears. No,
They're
it's
the
Missouri
Bears.
State. Missouri State.
Yeah,
Missouri
Missouri
State-
State's the Bears.
First year in
Montana
FBS.
State's
Montana
is the
is the Grizzlies.
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. Anyway, Mo State, they beat Marshall outright. Big points for the Super Dog.
It's a quick 17 for
Yeah.
you.
Quick 17 for me. Rutgers dismantled
Sad.
Miami of
Nope.
Ohio.
Sad.
Yeah. JMU squeaked a 0.5 point cover.
Yeah, honestly, during the first half, I was kind of calculating how much they were going to win by and how many outright points I was going to get, and then just you see what happens. Just thank God for the hook because I would have lost it if I would have lost the Super Dog off that. So
Sam, congrats.
Thank you.
Great cover from Kentucky.
yeah,
Also, another quick hit. UCLA hate watch rolls on. They lost to UNLV 30-23.
speaking of UNLV, Alex Orgy just out for the season.
Oh.
I don't think their offensive production will be that impacted by that loss.
I
Although
don't think
it is a shame.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like the other guy, UVA transfer. Arch, give me
Also,
you're good. You have like the G5
Anthony
quarterback.
Calandria.
Yes, that guy.
yes,
Hey,
Virginia. legend.
Tony. Tony's kind of dealing this year. I think he just needed one of those low stakes, just ball out with the boys kind of mentality. Good to see it.
Also, Oregon beat Oklahoma State by 66 points. After all the pregame talk.
Gundy's so gone. So sad. It's
Yeah.
actually so sad to see like Mike Gundy, like legend of our coaching in our lifetime, like just like go out this sad. But
Dude, I keep thinking they're gonna fire him, but like I don't know who you like get. Like I don't know who would take that job.
they don't really use a lot of money.
Did they have funding?
No.
No,
That's
they're
the
Barry
point.
Sanders?
they're like the only school in that area that does not have oil money. Like
Yeah.
Who knows? Tulsa's got more money. Dusky, you got a couple others or no that you wanted to hit?
I mean, Vandy, big win over Virginia Tech. Clemson was down 16-3 at
We'll get to
halftime
that.
against
We'll get
Troy.
to that
Yeah.
when we preview the fucking Clemson game.
And then a couple of
Damn.
FCS upsets too. LIU
Is that
Yeah.
an
win over
LIU?
Eastern Michigan.
Marco
Hitting the road
Paterno's
again
Eastern
versus
Michigan.
FBS team, and then picking up a big win against Eastern Michigan. And then Bryant also beat UMass. UMass is a glorified FCS program.
UMass is bad. That's all you got to know.
Period.
That's why Temple was the smash spot in week 1.
Yeah.
It's like a full circle moment with Temple. It all comes back to him.
Well-
I guess I would add the BC Michigan State game. Awesome game. BC's got a gamer at quarterback with Bill O'Brien. Michigan State, I mean, both defense. It was like an SMU Baylor, just like up north a little bit. It was awesome to see, though.
Oh yeah, and before we get into the next ones, shout out Vakari Swain, South Carolina punt returner. 2 more punt returns on Saturday, so he's 3 in 2 games, which is pretty cool.
That's pretty
electric.
insane.
Yeah.
Beamer ball.
Dude, their whoever is their punt return special, like whoever does punt
Yeah,
return
well-
for them, like they are so excited.
Too bad it had to come against South Carolina State, but
No, those are good. Those are good because when the special teams coordinator goes to get a new job, he's gonna be like, I mean, look at our return average. Those are return average games. Little stat
yeah,
pad.
how do you like going forward if you're like opposing teams? Do you just not punt the ball to him? Or like directionally? How do
you
you
just-
scheme for that?
I mean, again, punters are supposed to pin you to the sideline. They're supposed to hit sideline balls. The coverage net is supposed to pin you to the sideline as well, and then you're supposed to make a net that converges on the returner. So like you just like emphasize the coaching of the punt return. A lot of the times, like if you have a good enough punter, like he can just pin you to the sideline every time. But a lot of the times, like your punter, even if you try to kick away from him, like they're gonna hit 3 out of 5 that just go to him. So like you
Can't
said,
imagine the South Carolina State punter's hitting
Yeah.
the spot every time he wants
No.
to.
Yeah, exactly. So I think people are still gonna kick to him. You just gotta cover better. I mean, it's like the Deshaun Jackson thing of the Eagles. Like, I don't know, cover better. It's punting. It's not like kickoff where you can just like intentionally avoid them. Although you still can have a little bit of attention. It's just you're punting. So with that, we're gonna take a quick break, and then we will be back to preview an awesome week 3. Thanks for tuning in.
For the game.
Mateer will absolutely get this
Award, yeah.
Probably when they play Auburn or something.
Okay, ready?
Or Jackson Arnold.
I think Arnold's gonna. Ooh, we'll get into that in 2 weeks.
All right. 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to the 5th episode of the Forward Pass Pod. We are going to unveil our first ever running back of the week. Of course, this podcast loves to use the term running back to describe a quarterback which uses his legs a lot. Sometimes too much. Other times just the right amount. So with that, I give Caleb Archer the mic. I wonder who our running back of the week is.
So after dropping the ball in week 0 and week 1 on gifting this award, which we all know who they would have been, we don't even have to say his name. Week 2, we scouted out the entire college football landscape, and we saw one quarterback that had the most impactful use of his legs in a big-time game. And I'm proud to present running back of the week for week 2 to Mr. Byron Brown of the USF Bulls. You don't go into Florida and not use your legs.
Pause.
No pause.
That's
No
true.
pause for the running back of the week.
No.
Yeah, no. You go into Florida, you use your legs, you physically impose your will on a team, you lower your shoulder, and you don't care because that's what it takes to be a Bull. Florida messed with the Bull, and it got the horns on Saturday. So our running back of the week is Mr. Byron Brown.
Wow.
Yeah, honestly, this might be more of a sign of like the state the Florida program is in, but like Byron Brown at the end of the game, USF was as they were setting up to get into field goal position, USF was just spamming QB ISO, QB power. Like he went full running back mode, picked up some big first downs. It was just what a week using his legs.
Some teams fade when it gets tough. Byron Brown gets better. It's like he's eager to get the ball in his hand. And until he gets his crown taken from him, I have a sneaky suspicion he might be in the running for week 3 if they can pull some magic against the Hurricanes.
Congratulations, Byron Brown.
Byron Brown.
Yeah, well
This
deserved.
is a Byron Brown podcast. We've been on it since day 1. So thank you.
Thanks, Byron. Wow. Great segment, dude. Good job, March.
Thank you. Just
And
thank
with
Hiram.
True. And with that, paper pop. With that, we're gonna go into this preview of a fabulous week. The Georgia Bulldogs take on the Tennessee Vols. The Fighting Colin Foley's versus the Fighting Caleb Archers. Caleb Archer, why don't you lead us with this one?
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be interesting. Georgia Tennessee is usually never played this early in the season. Usually it's like a November game. Interesting is going to be Georgia's first road test, the first test truly after 2 JV warm-up games. Tennessee looked great against Syracuse. Now, and people were really high on them. Now you see Syracuse probably not that good if they take overtime to beat UConn. I think they're good. Tennessee's going to be without 2 of their starting corners, I believe. They're still going to be out. Thought they were going to be able to return. One of them was from an injury from last season. I believe one was from this season. Georgia, it's kind of a prove-it game. I don't know. Kind of hard to say that when a team that's like been proven. But this year's version of Georgia football, you have no idea what it's about. You haven't been in the spotlight yet. You're with a new quarterback. I guess 3 starts under his belt now. There are some growing pains the first 2 weeks with him. First true road test. It's going to be in Neyland Stadium. Going to be a rocking atmosphere. I know Georgia's going to bring their best game. I know Tennessee is. It's going to be a great back and forth game. I mean, Kirby owns Heupel. We'll see if Heupel can change the tides this year. Going to be an awesome game. Full of. I think it's going to be what quarterback makes the least amount of mistakes. Gunnar Stockton versus Aguilar, and I think Georgia's going to be good enough that if they have a mistake or 2, they can make it up. But I don't know if Tennessee will be able to necessarily. So it'll be an interesting game, like I said. Right now, I'm never going to pick against the Dogs, so I'm going to go with them. Weird kind of spread, 3.5 to 4. Depends on where you're shopping for your lines. But it's going to be an awesome game, and I got the Dogs in this one.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be the biggest test for Gunnar Stockton so far in his career on the road. He really hasn't played a road game yet at Georgia, or hasn't for that matter. It's going to be interesting to see how Tennessee's very depleted defense is able to stack up with Georgia's front. I expect Georgia's offensive line to really make a difference here, especially down the stretch in this game. And on the defensive side of the ball, I think Georgia is going to have to force Joey Aguilar to make aggressive plays. He had a big turnover problem previously, and I think in that Syracuse game, he didn't take a lot of risks. He was making a lot of easy throws, and that's kind of what Heupel does a good job of setting up for him and making his quarterback's life as easy as possible. So I look at Georgia to stack the box and kind of dare Tennessee to throw the ball downfield. So if Tennessee can maybe hit on a couple of these deep shots early on and stay in this game, then I think that's going to be their key to victory. I think Georgia's key to victory is going to be to get Gunnar Stockton going a little bit. He's obviously not lit the world on fire the first 2 games, but I don't think anyone really expected him to. I think Tennessee's defense is going to do a good job of keeping Georgia's running game intact, especially at the beginning. But I lean Georgia, just the overall depth of Georgia, and a program type win here and a squeaky, like a 21-17. I think this line is going to be pretty accurate in this game. I'm going to go Georgia, though, as well.
My biggest question, I think this is the biggest question surrounding Georgia going into the season. I want to hear Arch talk about it a little bit. Was the interior offensive line that was pretty inexperienced despite being pretty old. So I'd love to hear Arch's. He's probably watched more Georgia football than anyone on this podcast, so I'd love to hear him talk about them and the early returns.
Yeah, last year Georgia's O-line was pretty underwhelming as a whole, running game included. Interior 3 were all like really experienced, but you didn't really get the results of it. This year you got 3 kind of young guys, young, inexperienced, I would say. Like you got like a 5th-year senior, you got a senior, and I believe the other one is going to be I believe it's a junior, if I remember correctly. Interior 3 so far has looked pretty good. I think the only weak spot on the O-line that I was looking at from at least Austin P was our right tackle. Because we had to do some shifting, and we have a guy that's a 6'10" old basketball player, and he was making some He was making. I'm not. I don't believe he was a starter, but he was one of the sixth, seventh man guys. He struggled, but also he's like a 6'10" basketball player. Just learning how to play football, which shocker, not going to be very good at the start. I think it's been encouraging. The second half of Austin P, you really saw some rushing lanes open up and people being some people movers like they should against an inferior opponent. So I'm interested to see how they do against the Tennessee front. But I'm more optimistic than I thought I would be at this point.
One name to watch in this game, Zion Branch and KJ Bolden. I guess two names. Both play safety for the Dogs. Zion Branch, everybody knows Zachariah, but it's his twin brother, Zion, who makes a lot of plays, has a lot of tackles for the Dogs. I want to see how they perform. I think that's pretty elite safety duo. Excited to see that. But you guys hit that on the head. The next one I'm going to go into is the Clemson Georgia Tech game. And it's go time for Clemson. This is my State of the Union to Clemson. Troy gave Clemson all they could handle. It's time for a gut check. I am sick of supporting this club because all they talk about is elevation and elevation. And this is the year. Senior laden. Trenches, we're back. We've got weapons. Cade Klubnik, third year. Garrett Riley, third year. We've got a better culture than some programs. Sure. But can we see it on the football field? Please. Because if we don't, the bus ride back up, as the wagon rides back up from Atlanta, Georgia, I will be getting off at Buford. If Clemson loses this game, I'm off. I am off the bandwagon. That's all I got to say. You better win this game, Clemson. Please. I've supported you this far.
Yeah, I would echo that sentiment. I think from a positive side, going into this game for Clemson, I think their defense played pretty well against LSU in week 1. They held them to 4 for 11 on third downs. They were able to get off the field pretty effectively. They also did a decent job stopping the LSU rushing attack, only allowing 3.5 yards per carry in that game. So run defense is obviously going to be a huge part of the game here. Playing an opponent like Georgia Tech, the way they like to just jam the ball down the team they're playing, jam the ball down their throat, just gap scheme run after gap scheme run. Haynes King trying to get downhill. That's going to be the biggest test for Clemson in this game. So we'll see how they're able to stand up there. And then on the offensive side of the ball, can Clemson run the ball? They ran it for 31 yards against LSU. That's never getting the job done in any universe ever. And they got turned into a one-dimensional offense, and you saw Cade struggle when that happened. So can they get this ground game going, open things up for Wesco more? Hopefully Williams plays, but can this ground game propel this Clemson offense into being able to have a bit more of a vertical threat, see a little bit more explosion out of the offense? From a Georgia Tech perspective, they can run it against anyone, and they try to run it against anyone. We saw it last year. We saw it in the Colorado game. I've talked about Keelan Rutledge before in our recap of the Colorado game. He's an absolute mauler, gets things going for Georgia Tech on the ground, and that's obviously going to be the key for them. Can their defense stand up against a team that, like we've talked about Clemson, they profile as a team that should be a contender? Can they stand up to an offense like that? They had some vulnerabilities in the Colorado game. Who knows how good Colorado is? And then they also turned it over 3 times early in that game. So that's going to be a big issue for them. They're not going to be able to overcome that no matter what against a Clemson team. So a big emphasis should be focusing on not turning the ball over, trying to establish a run, and then open things up for Haynes King to create some more explosive plays. So the matchup, I think, if Clemson gets Georgia Tech off schedule early, make Haynes get into more third and pass situations, they'll be in good shape. More effective on the ground. We talked about that. And the blueprint on beating Clemson was laid out by LSU. I think if Brent Key can put his Georgia Tech spin on it, then like I said, the blueprint's there. But I picked Clemson as my national champion. You just gave the State of the Union for Clemson. I'm going to ride with Clemson still. I hope they can pick up a win here versus a solid ACC team and then carry that confidence over into the rest of the season.
Yeah, Dusty, you kind of hit all the points there. I feel like this feels like one of those Clemson games where they just kind of dominate, even though the spread is close or people think it might be a close game. I feel like this is going to be Clemson's coming out party against like a weaker opponent than LSU. I think they've kind of hit rock bottom as a team after the first half of that Troy game being down by 2 scores. So I think it's only up from there. I'm really confused about why there's two vastly different spreads in this game. Like if you could bet, wouldn't you want to bet? You could bet Clemson minus 4.5 right now and Georgia Tech plus 10.5 on the other book and win on both sides. Like you wouldn't lose. So whatever. But that being said, I think that Clemson's receivers might be a little bit too much in this game, and I think Clemson's going to come away with a win I would take them to cover that 9.5 point spread if that's the spread on top of the 4.5 spread if that's the spread.
Yeah. When I think about this game, it's kind of just like a, if not now, then when for Clemson. I think, like, I know Chuck said it, the State of the Union. Like, if you don't do it now, like, are you
It's
ever
over.
going to? Well, yeah, like this was supposed to be the time, and it kind of could be said with a little bit with Georgia Tech, like when you're factoring in the fact that like preseason, this game was like a one that people were predicting Georgia Tech to be like an upset pick, and that was when they opened up the season at plus 11 at like in like 2 scores. Now you're plus 4. You're at home. It's going to be a noon game, so for better, that could be for your advantage or for your detriment. If not now, then when? I find it hard to see Clemson dropping a game like this in a prove-it spot with Dabo. That's one of the more experienced coaches in college football, a winner. If Clemson cannot get their ground game running versus a Georgia Tech front that Colorado had success running the ball against, it's over. Like Georgia Tech's got the athletes to keep up with them on offense, I think. And if you don't have a run game and it's all on Klubnik again, like it's not a recipe for success. I'm gonna trust my for being dumb, maybe. I don't know. I'm just gonna trust Clemson. Georgia Tech didn't really wow me against Colorado, and I think they play very minimal mistake way of football when you turn the clock. Like if you have a big drive and then you turn the ball over, I have a feeling that's going to happen this game, and it's going to waste 10 minutes of clock, and Clemson's going to get the ball back and be able to do like a quick score. So I think Clemson's going to be able to take advantage of Tech's mistakes, and I'm going to give Clemson the edge.
All right, we're all in agreement. It's Clemson. See what you got, guys. Let's see what you got.
I'm sure that's going to work well on
Yeah.
Saturday.
Yeah, I'm sure. Texas A&M, Notre Dame. The game is being played in South Bend, Indiana. Texas A&M, they haven't played a high-quality opponent yet. Obviously, Notre Dame has a loss to Miami, a good loss, in my opinion, where they looked like a solid football team and got beat by a veteran quarterback. For me, this is a huge hinge game for Notre Dame. Their schedule is not going to be insane moving forward. This is kind of when they kind of go into like ACC play, if you will. But they need this game. If you're a 2-loss team, the margin of error, I'm not saying you can't get in the playoff, but the margin of error is very slim. Meanwhile, for Texas A&M, they want this game because as you get into SEC play, you can drop 1 or 2 games if you win this game, and if you don't win this game, then you have to be almost perfect or 1 loss in the SEC. So Marcel Reed, watching the UTSA game, like I thought Marcel Reed showed signs of improvement as a thrower of the football. I do think the addition of Casey Concepcion at receiver, Texas A&M, North Carolina State transfer, he's kind of huge. Texas A&M always has the Jimmies and the Joes. I wonder if they can get it done in a big time spot. This would be almost like an Oklahoma type of win for them, where like, hey, we might have arrived. What say you guys about this game? I'm actually going to decide to go with Notre Dame. I think at home, CJ Carr, who looked good against Miami, he gets a run game. They get Jeremiah Love going a little bit more. They're a little bit more intentional with getting him the rock early in the game. I do think this is a fourth quarter ball game, but I trust Marcus Freeman, his defense at home, and just one more play from the Notre Dame offense and maybe a turnover or two from Marcel Reed and the Aggies.
Yeah, I think that this game is really interesting because I actually think that both teams need this game more than the casual eye might think. I think that just with the way that last season ended with A&M, where they kind of just had to go about their season and they could have still afforded to lose the Texas game and make the SEC championship, and yet they lost to two unranked opponents down the stretch when they were number 10 in the country. So I think that Texas A&M does need this game to kind of prove that they're still an upper echelon team and can win these big games when it really matters. I also think that this game is going to go the polar opposite of the way that it did last year. Last year was a very low scoring defensive battle. And not that these aren't two good defenses, I just think that these offenses set up well to score a lot of points against each other. First off, against UTSA, they averaged 6.2. UTSA averaged 6.2 yards per carry, with their starting running back averaging 11 yards a carry. Granted, he had a 75-yard run, but they were gashed on the ground. And what is Notre Dame supposedly supposed to be really good at? Running the ball. I think another obvious talking point in this game is, will Notre Dame utilize Jeremiah Love more? He only had 10 carries against Miami, so they're going to have to use him more. Now, will the home crowd be that much of a difference in Notre Dame? I don't know. I think 6.5 is a lot in a game like this that I could easily see being a 31-27 or even a 38-34 game. So that being said, I'm going to take A&M spread on here with the points. I'm also going to take the over as well. I could see a higher scoring game here. And I'm just really interested to see how these defenses line up after watching Notre Dame throw the ball around a lot against Notre Dame or against Miami, and what with A&M's elite running back room that they have, that including their quarterback.
Yeah, I think another important point about this game from a Notre Dame perspective is that they're coming off a bye heading into this. They didn't play anyone last week, so coming off the Miami loss that Sunday night in week 1, they've been eyes set on this game ever since then. I think that's a huge part of it, is being able to get those extra practice reps against the Texas A&M look that you're going to get. Sam talked about the UTSA game and how effectively UTSA was able to run the ball against Texas A&M. So I think that's kind of obvious, and I still think Notre Dame will be able to take advantage of that. And this is the type of team under Marcus Freeman that he always has them ready to go in these big spots here. Even when they lose, they battle and they make it tough for their opponent to beat them. We saw that in the Miami game in week 1. And CJ Carr, he got reps in a big game now, and I trust him a little more going into this too. He played on the road in week 1. Now he gets to play at home. And I think he builds off some of those good things that he did in the Miami game. Hopefully they feed Jeremiah Love a little more here with the vulnerabilities that Texas A&M is going to have. And I think that Notre Dame is able to pull off a win here at home.
Yeah, looking at this game, it's a super like you mentioned, it's super odd that Notre Dame's already coming off of a bye, and the only thing you've really ever seen them is like a tough loss to Miami, which like Miami, you got to assume is going to be one of the best teams in college football this season. So it's like, how much can you take from that, good or bad? Or you can take some good, but how much bad do you take? Is it an actual weakness, or is it just Miami was able to expose it because they're that much better than like what you think with like a good pass rush? I think both offenses, like Sam said, are going to be able to capitalize on some things. UTSA had success throwing the football against A&M. And A&M secondary dating back to last year was their issue with their team, or one of a few. So I think CJ Carr could have a good bounce back spot with a lot of really good weapons for Notre Dame that kind of were underutilized against Miami, which with Miami shortening the game, running the ball a lot more, doing a lot more like play action stuff, they were more methodical. So Notre Dame definitely had limited possessions, I think, than what they thought they would get coming in. And like the underutilization of Jeremiah Love, I think they'll kind of lean on him. I think A&M will lean on their receivers and also their running back room that's deep with Le'Veon Moss and Reuben Owens, and also Marcel Reed as a runner. I believe he leads their team in rushing this season. So I think it'll be
Candidate,
interesting to see.
candidate for this for upcoming.
Yeah, for sure. I think I'm going to lean. I think there's going to be a lot of points scored in this game, opposite of last year, like Sam said, because last year was kind of like a knockdown, like just drag out snooze fest. And I think that A&M is going to keep it close. And I just can't see Notre Dame going 0-2 in their two big games. But I also, for some reason, think this is Elko's like statement win because I'm a big Elko guy at A&M. So I'm going to pick A&M to upset them in South Bend.
I like that, Arch. I like that. With conviction. The next game, Florida LSU.
Hmm.
Sam, take it away.
Yeah, I'm pumped for this game. It's going to be the Saturday night ABC game. Obviously had a lot bigger ramifications 3 days ago before Florida's disastrous USF loss. This is going to be a really interesting game for the obvious. How is Florida going to respond, and will they be able to respond? I think with the panic button already being hit in Gainesville, I think there will be a full-on disaster inbound for if they were to lose this game, especially by a lot. But I am point to how Florida has always kind of responded under Billy Napier in the past year and how they played up to opponents last year, whether it was at Tennessee or against Ole Miss or LSU last year. So I expect the same to ring true in this game. I think that this game's going to be a lot closer. I mean, I don't really have any like real stats to give, but I just feel like with the inconsistencies of Brian Kelly's LSU teams, uh, I don't want to put too much substance into how they played on Saturday, but um, I just think that there is a lot of variance in how LSU has played under Brian Kelly. They have their highs and they have their very lows. And I just feel like with the loss to USF, that LSU could be slightly overlooking this game. And for those reasons, I'm going to take Florida here to cover the 9.5. They are going to be my super dog, Charlie and Arch. So you can jot that down. Um, I'm not going to take them. You know what? I will take
Do
them
it.
outright. I will take
Yeah.
Florida. Yeah, I will take Florida to win this game. I think Lagway is going to step up a little bit. I think that LSU is going to overlook them a tiny bit. They might have played their Super Bowl in week one in this just early on portion of the season. So I'm going to take Florida here to win in week three and shock the world. And Florida's season might be back on after this.
I would say Florida needs this game like they need oxygen. And I think we're going to have to get a Lagway hero game if Florida were to win. My thing is, I have a sneaking suspicion LSU might be for real and might be a top three team in the SEC. If you're a top three team in the SEC, this is a game you get. This is a game you don't. It doesn't need to be pretty. You don't need to cover. You just need to win the game. Um, you're at home. It's Death Valley. It's rocking, and you got Garrett Nussmeier, and I just trust Garrett Nussmeier more than I do anybody on Florida's roster to get the job done. I'm going with LSU, but man, Florida could use this. And it would be a really interesting if Florida could get this. So I like what you did, Sam. I like what you did. I respect putting your nuts on the table and saying Florida's gonna bounce back.
I think the biggest sign of progress that we saw for the Brian Kelly-led LSU Tigers is that they were able to win their week one game this year. And it feels like they're knocking on the doorstep now. And for them to kind of knock that door in, they should smell some blood in the water here. And Brian Kelly should have them rearing to go, killer instinct engaged. And this is kind of one of those wins where you need to win to propel yourself up into that upper echelon. And I think LSU, they answered my biggest questions about them. The O-line questions I had going into the Clemson game, I thought they played a lot better than I expected. And we talked about Florida earlier in the show and how they were able to respond last year. But at some point, it's tough to respond when you keep getting your balls kicked in tough games like they did last week. And I think at some point enough is enough, and it's harder to respond. as a team collectively. And I talked about Brian Kelly. This is the next step. I think they're able to do that and pick up a big win at home.
Yeah, I like what Deska said about, Brian Kelly conquered his first demon, faced him head on by winning in week 1. I think the second one is going to be in the years past of Brian Kelly. This is absolutely a game that LSU loses. Like, no doubt about it to me. If this is last year, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, this is a game you're looking at and you're like, yeah, they're going to lose this game. You don't know how. They could play a perfect game. The other team just plays an even better game, like more perfect game. And I just find it hard to watch Florida's fourth quarter effort versus USF and take anything like positive that they could translate to a game versus LSU in Death Valley. And it's going to be a test. I mean, Lagway clearly looks out of sync. I mean, Nez's intel proves true. Like, the fact he hasn't been playing, like, he didn't practice until, like, week 1, which is, like, oh, it was always the rumor because of his injuries. When you got some transfers in and stuff like that, and, like, you're already a newer guy anyway because you didn't even start a full season last year because Mertz was there, I believe. I'm pretty sure that, Graham Mertz until he snapped his leg in the Tennessee game or something. So got a lot of, like, I just don't know how much you can fix in a week in like kind of like a program kind of like statement, but in a bad way. Like, this is what Florida is. But for some reason, I just think you're going to get like Florida's best effort. But I just think LSU is legit this year. And I think I've been a Nussmeier guy. I think their secondary will have receivers have some success. I just want to think Florida's going to keep it close, but I just think LSU's got the firepower and the chemistry and stuff like that this year to push them over a Florida team that clearly doesn't have the it factor, I think, through 2 games.
And hey, we heard Nez. There's a lot of negatives to
Catching,
cover on that Florida
tackling,
team. Yeah.
I mean, can we
blocking.
learn? Can we if we hit the jugs in this week, then maybe. But until then, like,
Can we overcome that sheer amount of negatives?
Yeah.
Catching,
tough,
blocking, and tackling.
Yeah, those are
We wanna
pretty
add-
fundamental to
Pillars,
success.
the
Yeah.
pillars of football.
do we want to add this game to the pick'em?
It's a 9.5
What's the spread?
spread. 9.5.
Yeah, we have 3 right now. I got Clemson, Georgia Tech, UGA, Tennessee, A&M Notre Dame.
I mean, if Sam's going to take Florida, we might as well. But I mean, that might be
Yeah.
kind of cheap for us to do.
Yeah,
Sam, what do you think?
I think we
This
should
could
add
be-
a different game.
All right, we'll add a different game.
Yeah,
This
let's have
could
a
be a
closer
funny.
game.
This could be a funny game to add a disgusting game on.
Do you
Yeah.
diversify it a little bit?
Okay, don't.
We should
Tulane,
put a
Duke.
random G5.
Tulane plays Duke.
No.
Yeah.
Oh,
That was a tight spread. I was pretty surprised by
Do
that.
we have to? Oh, what about Pitt, West Virginia?
I'd
What's the
do the
spread?
backyard brawl. Give me
It's
Dub
6.5.
V.
It's 6.5.
Give me a Dub V bounce back versus
Whoa,
Pitt.
whoa,
Dude, I feel like that's too
whoa.
chalky. I don't know.
No,
Yeah.
you don't.
Unless
You know what?
Arch is picking West Virginia.
6.5 is Notre Dame.
Yeah.
A&M. And
Yeah, but that's like a big game. Well, okay. I'm not saying the backyard brawl is not a big game.
all right, man.
I'm just
It was
gonna
going to
stop
be college
talking.
game day.
I'm
It was.
gonna stop talking. I'm gonna stop talking.
No. But yeah, I mean, if we want to, do we want to even?
I don't know.
preview the-
Duke's not that fun though. Like we
That's
should
what I'm
put something
saying. I
more
don't.
fun
I
in
don't
there.
like
Yeah.
Tulane, dude. Besides the men's going back home.
And like honestly, Florida, they need to prove something before they. Should we put Vandy SC? Is anyone picking Vandy in that?
I'm picking
I'm picking XC.
Yeah, me too.
Dude, I think that like this is one of those like Williams Price at night where the offense just comes out. Like they've been hearing shit all week. I can go on a little 10-second rant. I think they've been hearing shit for the last 2 weeks about how bad they are. They come out of the hot scripted drive, place going nuts. Pavio's running for his life. This could be another running back off as well. Yeah, I'm nervous, but I think that like this could be a good win for South Carolina. You let their offense get on track a little bit more. I also think that there's a lot of box score watchers out there that are like, oh, well, Vandy beat Virginia Tech by so much more than South Carolina did. Well,
Well, that's not how football
That's the
works.
worst opinion you could ever have in a
Transitive
football.
property does
in
not
football.
apply to football.
like when you have a roster of 53 new guys, you have no film on them. It's kind of hard to get a gauge.
If you did if you did transitive property in 2022, Elon beat Alabama.
Yep,
via transfer
sure did.
property. So just note that.
I think it's important to stick to your roots. Let's toss the backyard brawl in there.
I like that. I like the backyard brawl.
Yeah.
And if we're gonna do a quick segment on it, I think it's. I mean, I thought WV looked real shaky last week.
Oh, they look
Yeah.
bad.
If Pitt is anything this year, if they're like above average like ACC team, like this needs to be a win.
Yeah, but I think Rich Rod has them going. I think this game, if I were to
Did
bet,
they purposely lose the Ohio game to make Pitt go to sleep for this game?
dude, I think
We
WV
didn't want
is
the
gonna
added
come
noise
out
of game day, just so
lying.
they lost on purpose.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think that this is going to actually be a kind of a dogfight.
I hope not.
Dude, we don't blow them
Yeah.
out. That's
I mean,
just
hey,
not going to happen.
Eli Holstein threw for 300 yards last week.
Are we
It's
all
gonna
going
be-
to pick
it's-
Pitt?
No, I'm taking West Virginia.
That's cool.
All right.
I'll
Dude, I
ride
think West
Virginia
Virginia is
with
kind
you,
of sharp. I think West Virginia is very sharp in this game.
I'll make it half and half. Art.
I just
I'll
think
ride
it's
West
like
Virginia.
Iowa when they didn't throw the forward pass versus Albany. It was because they were setting up the big game.
They didn't want to put anything on film for the big game.
Yes,
Quite literally. They took nothing on film, literally, because they should have.
They did
Trying to
bring out the slow
rationalize-
mesh. I don't know if you guys saw that.
What?
The Wake Forest slow mesh RPO.
I just don't think Gronowski can run it.
Iowa.
I don't know what he can run. Maybe like I formation.
Not that. Don't
Dude,
run that. I hate that
I've
shit.
watched the
Can somebody
watch
just
South
put him in
Dakota
the
State.
center?
Watch the South Dakota State.
He threw for
It's
10,000
insane.
yards in FCS.
He slings the rock. It's actually uncanny what they do to these quarterbacks.
Well,
Wait, who was?
What's
You,
on
do
my
you think
theory
did you
is
say like
true.
they clipped their UCL?
Yeah,
when they get there,
they
they
walk
just
in the
kinda-
facility just
Quarterback circumcision at Iowa.
yeah, literally.
I have a funny
They-
deep
they
cut
took-
for
and they put
after
it- they put it-
recording.
They put a chip in there so they can track how fast they're running with the football
yeah.
because that's all they're gonna do. Like it's
Did you just try to throw a pass? We don't do that here.
Mark. You can't audible out of this run. Well, sir, it's eight.
You
it's
have
eight,
to run it.
It's 8-man pressure. It's Iowa.
Doesn't
Kirk
matter.
It's
Ferentz.
3rd and 6.
I'm Kirk.
It's all right. We'll
Ferentz.
convert.
Yeah. No. Well, sir, coach, are we trying to convert the first down? No, we're really trying to punt and get our defense on the field.
we just want to
No.
shut up. We just want to flip the field.
We just want to play D.
Yeah, we'll play D. Because there's another there's 3 parts of the game. Like it's not just defense and special teams.
They take
Not at Iowa here, coach.
So
Should we run down the Superdog?
Yeah, let's do Superdog real quick.
Is everybody taking Clemson?
Yeah, I'm taking Clemson.
Yes. I'm just all chalk besides West Virginia.
My Superdog is Missouri State again. Riding with
Oh,
Missouri State again, plus 27.5 versus SMU. SMU, they got to win by 4 touchdowns. I don't know if they can do it. SMU kind of a emotional game. Mo State just came off a nice win against Marshall. I don't know. I looked at the slate and I couldn't really see anything that was talking to me, so I decided to go back to the Mo State well.
yeah. I'm pretty desperate to get on the board here. Scanning this week, nothing really jumped out to me as well. There's a little Maction this week with Buffalo traveling to Kent State, and
Ooh.
Buffalo's got a big 21.5 point
Oh, for shit.
number to cover here, and I mean, I'm hoping it's just a knockdown, drag them out
Are you
type of-
going with the
type-
Golden
type-
Flashes?
type of math game here. I'm trying to think outside the box.
All right.
12 p.m. kickoff in Kent, Ohio. Let's hope the
Rockin'
Golden
crowd.
Flashes. Yeah, let's hope the Golden Flashes show up with a little juice here, and I'll take them to cover the plus 21.5 they have.
Nice.
I do think that one has a lot of life because Buffalo's defense is good, but their offense is horrible. This could go like 21-0 and Dusk is walking out of
Exactly.
there.
They have
Yeah.
to score. They have to score more than 21.5
And if
points.
Kent State scores a touchdown, they're covering the spread. I'm like pretty confident that's.
Let's
probably-
hope that the Golden Flashes are competent enough to.
Yeah.
They scored
to get
14
one.
versus
Maybe
the
like a good
Fighting
script.
Red Raiders, so
Maybe a good script.
they don't have
for
coaches.
Yeah.
outside.
They don't know how
A
to
good
do that.
opener.
Oh,
Yeah.
they don't script.
They don't know how to do that.
They just walk out and run their plays.
Yeah.
What do you think the paid attendance at that game is going to be?
Ooh,
non,
low,
non,
low,
non-friends
low.
and family.
400.
Hitting quadruple digits.
Will there be over 1,000 paid
This is
attendees
disgusting.
of that game?
Week 3 and we're already picking Kent State, dude.
We gotta think outside the box, get on the
That's
board.
disgusting, but I like it.
Arch? Yeah, mine. There's no surprise. You've been listening since pod 1, since ground zero. I'm all in on Temple. Love Casey.
Hooty hoo.
Boys. Yeah, hooty hoo. Philly will be rocking this weekend, and now just Hurts just ran another touchdown hit. Give me the Owls to keep it close versus the Sooners that just came off the game of their life and they got Auburn coming into their town next week. Do you think they really care? Do you think they're going to run Mateer more than 5 times? They're going to tell Mateer throw it away for the first time in his life. They don't want him to get hits. They don't, and if he's got to run out of bounds. Give me Temple to keep it close. I just got a feeling it's like a perfect storm brewing. Don't be surprised if it's close one at halftime.
A long trip from Norman to Philly, let me tell you.
That's a ridiculous trip.
And there's simply no way that Venables and the Oklahoma staff put that much effort into the game plan here for the Temple Owls. So I like that pick, Arch.
Sam?
I said that for my week pod 1 too, that I was eyeing
right.
Temple.
This is a Temple podcast.
Yeah.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Can you see me?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, well, my computer's frozen. My computer's frozen, but I am going to stick with my guns. I am going to take Florida, whatever the line closes at, because we almost got dicey with Kentucky last week. So whatever the line closes at, I'll take the Gators to chomp their way out of Baton Rouge. Also, for those listening right now, I don't mind Alabama to cover a large spread. I think it's like 24.5 against Auburn, who I predict will be the next SEC team to struggle against a directional school. So that's my Superdog Florida for the listeners at home. I like Alabama to be a little bit frisky.
Sweet. We've got one more thing that I'm forgetting.
You want to do the AP poll, kind of? I know you wanted Utah. Well,
yeah, it's ridiculous that they're 20. It's ridiculous.
yeah.
Also, South Florida should be a top 10 team. Who's got a better resume than them?
I think only LSU and Ohio State. That's kind of where it stops.
Yeah, pretty much.
I mean, I would rank them above Georgia if you're just talking about performance. But
yeah. I mean, if we're talking about like what you've done this year, South Florida, they're being criminally underrated. Now, Miami's a tough job.
Miami too. I forgot.
That's what I wanted to say. I wanted to ask Arch, do you think there's any chance? I know this is a Byron Brown podcast, but
dude, Miami looks good.
I know.
USF's O-line is pretty bad. Boise kind of had their way with them at times. I think Ruben Bain probably finishes with like 6 sacks because Byron Brown probably runs into a few of them, just kind of like run for his life. Beck probably dices him up.
Probably.
It's kind of looking eerie. Like Miami also throttled them last year, and USF was like the hot upset of the week. So it maybe USF like remembers that and wants to play good, but like I just don't know if they have the athlete, like the dogs on, like the horsepower on offense to keep up with the. They just don't have the athletes, but also they did versus Florida and they found a way. But I think Miami's different, so I think they'll be competitive. I don't think they'll cover the spread because I think Miami will score, probably pile some on late. But like, I think it'll be a cool. It'll be a good litmus test, I guess, to kind of see what you can do after 2 games that you're kind of like on the top of the world, like what you do after. So I don't know if they can come out there and give a fight. That means Golish has that program in the right direction. So, which I already know he has, but that's like when those games don't really impact like their season other than like just the win. So we'll see.
And then Arch, say what you want about commenting at the end.
Commenting.
Like, what are we? If you're
still listening.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. If you're still listening, let's comment your favorite moment from corporate football this week from the 14 games that played. I mean, no, 15 is tonight because one of them got canceled. So there's only 15. But
Oh, Perry's gone.
yeah.
Also,
comment
just
your
a quick
favorite-
update on the. We asked you guys to leave some 5-star reviews on the Spotify at the end of Spotify and Apple at the end of the show last week. Quick update: we were able to 4x our 5-star ratings. We've gone from 1 to 4 5-star ratings on Spotify. I appreciate you guys doing that. I'm kind of assuming it was all.
One of them was me.
Yeah, I'm kind of assuming it was all us, but
No,
even if it
I was
was,
not me. I forgot to do it.
Nice. Okay.
and
Appreciate
as we
it, guys.
speak, I just gave us 5 stars on Apple.
Nice.
So
Thank you guys for listening. We really appreciate it. It's been fun doing this. We're gonna keep getting a little better week by week, and it's just college football is a wonderful sport. When it really comes down to it, college football is a wonderful sport. I love that I get to cover it now, and I love that I get to do it with my best friends. It's been so much fun. So
we're in the thick of it now too.
yeah, I know. There's
Full
just
steam
content
ahead.
around. I mean, dude, I watched so much Matt Love's ball highlights yesterday. Except some of them weren't out, so I had to go onto a different
Dude,
account.
he put out a well, we can talk about this after the show. It's fine.
No, you wasn't say it.
He like put out a statement about how he's like retiring from his part-time job of making highlight videos.
Oh,
Because he got
man.
like demonetized, yeah.
Again?
Yeah. But there
No.
is there's a YouTube account called Duong Tong.
Yeah.
Puts out good highlights. So
Okay.
if you guys need a plug, there you go.
Okay, sweet. Perry,
Oh.
Yeah, sorry guys.
just
There's
mute
a
it.
storm going on right now here.
Oh, you're good.
Little bit of connectivity issues.
Well, dude, we pretty much wrapped it up. So you're free to go. You're free to go. Thank you guys for listening. It's been an absolute pleasure. Can't wait for the week 3 reactions. And God bless. Have a good
Yeah,
one.
hopefully your team is not one of the carnage like this week. So
Yeah.
Thank you for listening. Go Cox. Go Dogs. Go Elon. Go IUP.
Appreciate it, guys.
Go Birds.
Go Lars.
Yeah.
Go
So-
Falcons.
They're not playing this week.
It depends if they play or not.
Yeah.
They decide if the game happened after when the result happens.
Yeah.
That's when I decide.
Well, thank you.
Always a pleasure.
Peace out.